Oh, maybe
Yeah,
take the
I gotta
blur
fix
option
that.
off.
There we go.
Just leave it right there. It's okay with Joel.
Okay. Oh, Elise. Panic.
Sorry, Elise.
Okay,
Very sorry, everybody.
so you are fine. Okay, we are at 5:01. We had a little hiccup there restarting, but first, I just want to first say thank you to Claire French. I almost said Horsley. Claire French for coming and doing photos for us. We appreciate it. And we will start with our work session. So, we will start with events and rolling calendar. Bye, Claire. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, just go through there and then left.
Thank you.
You're fine.
So, yeah, the rolling calendar, next month, we've got the CMH request. You know, I talked to them about that one date, and they said that should work good, but I said, still want you to come in and talk to this Thursday. They'll come in. She wasn't available today. So she'll come in at the next meeting. I need to get the logo agreement done, so that's on there. If you guys have anything else for April that you'd like to see on there, that's the next regular meeting. Separate from that, we have these two other special meetings that I think we should try to schedule. One is the fair planning workshop, which would be more urgent, right? That's we can get everybody together and start talking about what we've got so far and get everybody looped in. But then after that, if the next special meeting we can have will be to talk about the strategic plan and planning on taking that project off, or if that's what we're going to do is work with them. So I know what we kind of had in mind, just talking in advance of the meeting was, like 2 weeks after the regular meeting to plan that to do. And so if that works for you guys' schedules, or if you have other dates that would work better or have conflicts for you guys, there's a calendar right there. So we could do like the 19th. I don't know if Wednesdays work or if Tuesdays would be a better day.
That's not working.
Let's have a discussion about some dates that would work for you to schedule a fair planning workshop.
19th won't work for me, but 18th or 20th good.
I think maybe sticking to the Tuesday wouldn't be a bad idea.
I have a conflict. I have Wednesday and Thursday for the next 2 weeks off.
Okay,
So I can't make a Tuesday meeting. I work to 10 o'clock or 7 o'clock. I mean,
so you mean this week and next week you have Tuesday off and
next
then
week and the fall week, I have Wednesday, Thursday off.
it's okay. It sounds like Wednesday doesn't really work. Does Thursday the 20th work for you guys to do a?
Works for me. Works for me.
We've got to, rally up other stakeholders as well. We want the 4-H FFA auction.
Can
car
we
show.
can we put it out there that, and maybe do a poll for the 18th and 20th so that we can see how we can get the most people, which date can get the most people?
Like to see?
I mean, is there,
Is there particular folks that you guys would be, it's most important that you guys meet as a team. But if we can get more people involved, that's great. That's the goal too.
so our fair workshop part is the meeting that we want to have everyone involved, right? Like the
Yeah.
auction committee and fair and, or 4-H and FFA.
That would be ideal. I think what's really important too, though, is that as you guys have all of these committees, you have your concert committee, your vendor committee, your entertainment committee, marketing, security, open class, basically being able to have kind of a large discussion where you're talking about all of those things at once. Those affect a lot of other people as well. So having other folks involved as well would be beneficial. And I think what is absolutely most important is that you guys as a team are able to hash through what you want the fair to look like as a picture, but absolutely think we need to have as many stakeholders involved as well.
Yeah, I think I would like to see if we're gonna do that type of meeting, I would really like to see us have those other stakeholders, have availity to be present and have a conversation as well.
Something else, maybe another option, and we can put a poll out and see who's available. Maybe another option is that you guys do one. That you can start talking about those logistics, and then we do another one that we can give those folks more time. To come to the table. It's just an idea, we'll see what a poll brings up though, and go from there.
Yeah, I think being able to use these, like this meeting or next meeting, whatever, however we do that, when we go into board discussion and talk about an update and then being able to feed off of that too. So yeah, I would like to see us go ahead and do that and have an option for them to be able to be a bigger part of that.
Are there any other dates in here that you would want to add for a poll?
I don't have little kids anymore. Is there Oregon spring break in there
That's
somewhere?
the week after.
It's the 24th.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've got circus on the 26th.
Do we feel like it's 2 weeks enough time to be able to come to the table like that? Or do we want to push it mid-April? I mean, that's,
The more notice you give people, the more likely you are to get
Yeah.
people there.
Right.
You know, so if it doesn't have to be this month, then mid-April would be better.
yeah,
But you're never gonna get everybody there.
right.
Well, another idea, maybe we can flip flop it, and this is a good conversation with Gail, maybe we can do a fair or a strategic plan workshop in this week somewhere. And then we can do the fair planning one in mid-April.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm wondering, on our working committee, or the working session for the April 1st. If there's not any working. Is that an option to use the regular scheduled working session for that as well?
For which one?
For the larger group, the full.
I think you're gonna want more time than an hour to be able to do that.
You always throttle back your actual fair board meeting
Mhm.
and have a longer work session, hour and a half.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Start at 4:30 and run it to 5:30, do the regular meeting at 6:30. Do the regular meeting at 6:30.
Yeah.
I can do a poll either way, see if people would be available on that.
I would say let's do the strategic plan workshop with Gail or that, yeah. That 18, well, sounds like maybe the 20th would be best. Sounds like no one else has a conflict on the board for that.
That would be good.
Okay, well, we can circle back on that. We'll just kind of hold that at the moment. And then I think what if we were to do kind of our workshop, April 1st work session for us to kind of talk about our committees more in depth and where that's all kind of laying. And then give an opportunity for a date somewhere between the 7th and 18th. I don't know, what people's weeks and days are like in April, but that would give us enough time to maybe do that work session with the other groups.
Yeah. Yeah, and their plans aren't really gonna change much off of that meeting, so I think that does work pretty well.
Okay.
It's more just getting everybody informed about what's.
That would give them the opportunity, and that's something that we can share with their groups, is that they could come on the 1st of April, and they can kind of hear our discussions, which then would give them an opportunity to go back to their table, and if they have any concerns or questions or anything like that, then we'd all be able to come back together the following week or week after and have those discussions further.
Give it a double shot. Okay, do we have dates, other dates in this area that? Oh, that's tax deadline, so that doesn't mean anything to me, but it could mean something to other people.
Maybe putting out there either the 10th or the 17th. Is anyone opposed to that?
Thursdays are good days for you, John?
about March or April.
April.
I'm not scheduled out. I would say probably Wednesday would be almost short.
Yeah.
Wednesday does work better for me as well.
Because it's the weeks we have.
I just have to check.
Tuesday meeting, I'll have Tuesday, Wednesday. Like this week.
Next Tuesday, April. I can make anything work.
9th or 16th.
Okay, the 16th works better. I don't have a class that night.
Yeah, it's like that'll be the day we'll shoot for it. So. Do you have, I just started steamroll ballparking on some. List of things, 4-H, option committee, FFA, car show, open class. Got any other thoughts on other groups that all?
Matt, do you know the Livestock Association, if there's anyone kind of spearheading that anymore, that would be maybe wanting to come and talk about doing something before the auction at all?
They are.
Okay,
Yeah, so are you talking about like a meal again?
yeah, I don't know. I know Jack and,
Yeah, so I think
Jack
Nick,
Ficken and all
Nick
that.
White, I
Yeah.
believe is. I'm assuming it's him is trying
Yeah.
to head up the barbecue again.
Yeah.
Trying to bring that back this year, so. I think between Nick and Tom Tetlow. Again, assuming these are
Yeah.
the people involved, that they're trying to bring that back.
Okay.
So,
Tom is definitely a good one to involve people mover. Someone. What are they called? It's called the livestock.
that's the Livestock Association.
Yeah. It used to be
It used to be.
Mike Audio,
It was
so
like
Jack.
Cattlemen's Association. I don't know, I've heard all kinds of different names for both of those. organizations.
Yeah, we've never had a cattlemen's association, it's always, well, I can't say never, but since I've been around.
Yeah.
We've just been.
It's been a
Livestock
while.
Association. Livestock Association, Leaders Association, and 4-H Association. Missing any? Auction committee, obviously.
I can't remember who, but they came and talked to us, the 4-H Association, about us helping, but there's just no way the 4-H gets that.
Yeah.
So we had said no, but they were gonna continue to look for another organization to help, maybe the Fair Board could.
I know there was talk about
For serving
pancake
stuff.
feed in the past as well.
For serving and
Saturday
stuff,
morning.
yeah.
There was a pancake feed before.
Yeah, that was
It was a-
underwhelming.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
I
just one
think-
more thing that takes away from the vendors that
Yeah.
were begging to be here as well.
okay, I think that's a good start. So we will, are we doing any option of dates, or are we just strictly saying the 16th of April?
You guys tell me, but it sounded like.
I think
It's your guys'
It's
schedule.
far enough out, just set it.
Okay.
Scheduling is our Achilles heel.
All right, so we will do, on. Did we pick a date for March for the strategic plan workshop planning?
20th, I think you said.
The 20th?
It does work.
Okay, so we will say March 20th will be the strategic plan workshop. We'll say the work session for April 1st will be, for the Fair Board Committee to talk about the fair workshop type of
What
committees.
time on March 20th?
5?
Yeah, does that work kind of for everyone? Same time? Keep it
Yeah,
easy?
I think you get into that 4:30 range is where you start losing people.
Yeah.
Work and stuff, so 5 o'clock, is good.
Okay, so we'll do that.
And 5 PM on the other ones too?
Yeah, so the April 1st will be, just an extension or basically our, topic for our work session.
Let me see if Lisa chatted on this.
Okay, and then we will do April 16th will be our meeting to have, the stakeholders for fair get together and plan. Correct?
What time was that one at?
I think 5 as well.
Our regular work session. Time.
Mhm.
Right, on the first.
Yep.
Did you catch all that, Elise? Do those dates work for you?
Yes, I wrote them down. No worries.
Okay,
Committee schedules, I think we had a date for the concert. And didn't write it down though, but we do.
24th.
For 24th.
The 30.
Don't think we have any other dates set for any of these other ones.
if we look at marketing and sponsorship and non, or I guess you have it as concert, so entertainment. Entertainment, we kind of met right before this meeting and we plan to talk tomorrow to set up an actual date. And then for sponsorship, I think, John, you're on that one. I don't know if you've seen your emails or not, but I'm hoping to get with you and I think Joel's on that one. So us three to be able to get together on that. So maybe we can talk before we take off today to plan a date for that. Okay. And then hope anyone else has any other dates on there, but if not, we can.
We already had vendor and volunteer. I don't know if we have any more topics to cover until we all get together as a group.
Yeah, like that was with both of those. I mean, the vendor, we were talking about like every 2 weeks doing like a.
Oh, yeah,
Like,
I think you're right.
it'd be just like a 10-minute,
You're right.
just reviewing any new vendors that have applied.
Get that on the calendar as well, yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, from there, the events calendar. Lots of events. Swap meets this weekend, another Friends of the Fair show. We've got a cat show on the 22nd and 23rd, which is interesting. We need every table we have and pack the ATM full, so that's a good sign.
Yeah.
The circus will be here on the 26th. That was a big hit last year, so we're looking forward to that again. You can see advertising coming up. Weddings, Oregon Hunters Association, 4-H bingo, and then rolling into crab, wine, and seafood. Right after that is CMH Foundation, and then the weigh-in, and then we really start rolling into that pre-summer, pre-fair section. Car show during the Memorial Day weekend, fly ball races the week before. That's a dog activity. They're gonna do it in there on the event floor while that's down. Yeah, lots of events. If you have any questions on any of those, let me know.
I do on crab and seafood. We're not getting a booth, we're getting a table from the chamber.
So, yeah, we sent out that thing to sign up for manning a booth and we only had 2 of the ships filled. And so we haven't responded to them at all about saying one way or the other what we want, but I think we can do a table,
I'm just,
but we don't have a team to man a booth for the whole
Correct.
event.
a table just announcing the carnival coming back, just a nice informational thing. Would that be handled by someone on the board? Handle that
I think
information?
that would be something good to talk about in our advertising and marketing session. I mean, we could talk about it several times between now and then, but
Okay,
if we're gonna have stuff printed up professionally, we'll need to get on it. If it's stuff we can print internally, then we can print off 11 by 17. Laminate those. Put out vendor cards and whatever else you wanna decide that you can set out.
I think announcing the upcoming,
Change date.
yeah, and the carnival.
Did you say that David Reed was coming?
He will be here tonight, yes.
Okay, that might be something we talk about too. I know he is coming to talk about maybe that change in pricing, and so maybe we can table that conversation and kind of bring that back into the loop when he gets here. As maybe an opportunity to barter, that would be a great word, but go back and forth on that. So one thing that I want to say on the schedule is we need, if we're gonna do the rodeo again in November, we need to like get on that.
Get-
I had a
get Dusty-
conversation
Get a
with,
contractor Dusty going.
yeah, I did talk to him today and I did ask him to go ahead and get one over to me. So I have jumped on that, so.
And when we get into the budget, talk about that as well.
Okay,
In June, it says May 20th, 22nd, Scam Festival. It should be June.
Yeah.
It's under June, but
Those,
like
Yeah.
after June, there's some more stuff in May.
yeah,
It's just a typo.
yeah.
Okay, no worries.
Fix this.
okay. Is there anything else for the events and rolling calendar? Okay, if not, we'll go to budget review.
Yeah, so you guys all have this handout. This is basically the budget request format. And I will just kind of go through it with you guys. I don't know if you have any questions ahead of time, but. This is the format we do it in. And let's set, this is done all through the county's financial software, so this is all. It's all fill-in forms that are built into that. I don't have like separate spreadsheets or anything. It's all. It's integrated system. Mission statement and department overview basically are the same thing that is in there every year. There's really not much change that we do to those. As we go through our strategic plan, we could talk about our mission statement and updating it, but this is what we have now. The major accomplishments, this was something that I had put together. This can be changed. And if you guys have some additional wording that you would like to see in there, if you guys want to take some time, look those over. I could try to highlight accomplishments, increasing the fair board to 7 members, strategic plan. Updates the conditional use permit. Bring back the carnival. Facility improvements, doing the roof assessment. Horse stalls and barns A and C. Land use planning, working on the wetlands, Bulls and Bronx event. And letting them know kind of the major accomplishments. of Our current fiscal year. Budget highlights for this next year, working on the long-term goal and strategic plan. Roadmap for facility improvements, get the roof project completed. And then producing more in-house events, depending on how our land use. You guys have said that was a really, really high level of all of those words. If you have any other input for that, send me a message. So going through this first section is funding sources. So that's our revenue page. See the column budget 2024-2025. That's our current year. So that's any changes are based off of that number. The requested 2025-2026 is what I have plugged in there for this year. Column next to that shows a change plus or minus. If the parentheses is a minus, if it's not a parentheses, it's a plus, and then it gives you a percentage plus or minus on the other column. So our beginning balance has climbed quite a bit. Some of that is just from us, knowing we need to do these big improvements. So we're seeing for that, but by the time this budget year is over, that will be nothing happen with that. It's not. Property taxes, that's the estimate that they gave us when we were putting the information together for the tax session. Let's scroll down, interest, that's on the money in the bank, that number will drop as we get these projects done and we have less money in the bank. Timber sales, that number is our estimate. I mean, you can see that those numbers are starting to drop and we expect those to drop even more over the next 2 or 3 years with the the 222 is the balance of the grant we have. All of that money will go towards the roof project as well. Florida State Fair distribution, that's the money we get from the lottery funding. If the bill passes, they get that full 1% of the lottery funding, that number could double. I don't know exactly what it will end up being, but if that passes, which we're really optimistic that it will, but everybody is optimistic that the legislation's gonna pass right now, so. We'll see, but we're not gonna budget for it until it actually passes.
Yeah.
Kitchen fees, this is more on track with what we've been receiving, and I think our alcohol revenues are going into that as well, so that's why we've gone from 1,000 to 7,800. We budgeted $5,000 last year, but we're on track to go over 10K this year. So anticipating the election on that. Ticket gate fee revenue, we have that at 80K. We did about 70 this year, 73. And that includes the 40 or so K that we get from fair admission, and then the 40 or so K that we got from hosting other events. So that's looped together. That's not just fair, that's the other events that we're doing. And so on the expense sheet, there's a line, to budget to put those events on. So those two kind of counteract each other. Every expense we're spending on the one side should result in that revenue on this side. Fair booth rentals. We're anticipating 10K, and that's up, that's more in line with what we've been seeing the last 2 years. Booster buttons or season passes. Probably the biggest hit that we have across the entire budget is the concert ticket revenue. And we've been tracking with this $94,000 concert ticket number from Trace Atkins, and we haven't realized those same ticket sales for the following two concerts, so. Budgeted it down lower towards what I think we're gonna receive versus, counting on Trace Atkins numbers. So when you're looking at the bottom line number on the difference between the 2 years, keep that line in mind, because that's a big chunk of why it's where it's at. Stayed the same, parking, camping, fair sponsors. This 10K is about what we did this year. We had only budgeted 3,100 last year. But we weren't really doing fair sponsors in the past. We were really just doing the concert sponsorship. So the more we can develop that program, I think that number could be significantly higher. More participation, more of a opportunity for sponsors.
Does that include, when we do like Rascal Rodeo and stuff like that? Is that included?
This is just the fair sponsor. There's a lower one that says event sponsor. That's like the rodeo that we did, but anything that was associated with fair, that's in. And that 10K that we were at, like a big chunk of that was the Rascal Rodeo. Then Loans did a big chunk for the button busting.
Yeah.
Big roast. Civic Power gets, we had. Concert sponsor, we did a little less than 60K last year, and so I just cut that number down a little, just under guess instead of over guess on whatever. That. Facility rentals, we've been doing about 90K in facility rentals every year, and we were budgeting 60, so I picked it up again to 80. We're just kind of stepping ourselves up into it. Marina signs has gone up a little because we've increased it from 200 to 250 to now 300, so that's why that one is a little bigger. And the transient room tax, that's a pass through that comes in, but it goes out. So this is just a spot to be able to track it separate. Event sponsorship was what we got from the restaurants. Merchandise is our percentage of the concert merchandise from the bands. So if we were to sell our own merchandise, that's where we would also take in. Looking at revenues. This equipment option sales rental, that's when we rent our bleachers out. We've been doing that quite a bit, but I think trying to limit what we do like that is definitely in our best interest. I'm comfortable renting it to other fairs and other local events, but we don't necessarily rent it out to every single person that comes asking to their bleachers, just because we want to make sure that they're available for us. And then transfer short tourism, we get 10K for marketing. That's the revenue side. And then rolling on to the next page, the summary is expenses. The entire top section is on the personnel parts. We do have some reductions here in some of our employee benefits, which, I mean, they're modest, they're a couple $100, but none of our things have changed. Our selections have changed, so it's. I do know that the insurance number that's in, and I don't know if it includes our, employee insurance, but definitely our facility insurance. The number that's in there is still not the final number. The county hasn't received their increase number yet. They said it should be, the insurance agency has told them that in the next week, we should have the final number. Yeah, so dropping down materials and services, these are mostly our operating expenses. Trying to pop out any of this big, yeah, the insurance, you see already alone, this 47,000 is a number with us. I think that was just plugging a 5% increase over what we've done this year. That number might be more, it might be pretty close to that, but that number is going to change before it's all said and done, and that's a number that's provided to us from the county, or under their policy. License permits and fees, that's their kitchen. Maintenance equipment, so between the maintenance equipment, general equipment and maintenance SIG, those numbers are kind of, we're trying to get those on track. Because the county has got us putting anything that's under contract in the separate line that says contractual services. So the contractual services catches a lot of our maintenance, and these lines are really for the maintenance that we're doing in-house, it's materials and parts. Then don't include somebody else coming off the property to get service. And so we've been paring those down to offset the increase in that other line. But some of those dollars are there really just as an in case, so if the freezer cuts out. Then we've got to have money in our budget in order to do the repair, or if the heater cuts out, we've got to have money in our budget to make the repair, even though. We're not necessarily gonna spend it unless. We have to do those repairs. General equipment, that would be our line for buying new stuff like tables and. Trash cans and carts and. Leaf blowers or whatever needs to be replaced. So you can see we whittled those SIG and general equipment down a little bit more to offset those. Numbers, those dollars being in the contractual services.
Do we have a plan to buy new tables? This
Yeah,
year?
so I intend to purchase tables with our. The surplus, the remaining balance in our line for this year before the end of the current fiscal year, and I considered that when I did our projections for the year end for this year. And so, you know, as we get to where we're wrapping up some of these other. Things we have in here, we're gonna have. A washer and a dryer, we need to buy, I wanted to get a couple of carts. For trash, you know, like the larger, like janitorial carts, so that we're not dragging bags across the parking lot and leaving them sitting outside, we can put it in our little cart. And then our fire panel needs to have some new equipment box, so. When those are done, the leftover dollars we'll spend on things. That's kind of where I am.
Do we have an idea of how many we need to replace that are broken? Cause I know there's quite a few.
We bought 10 already.
Okay,
We bought those probably. It was maybe for the rodeo event,
okay,
and so we didn't throw out 10 when we bought the 10. So
Okay.
we have 10 already that we could go through.
Okay.
I think if we bought 20 more, we'd probably be, as far as banquet tables.
Mhm.
These tables aren't necessarily.
no, it's the round ones when people go stand up, lean on them and they. Shoot out from underneath of them.
You know, they're about, a cheap one's about $250 a piece.
Okay, thank you.
Membership dues and fees, so this has money set aside, and there should be a separate sheet that. Here. Yeah. Yeah, so there's a separate sheet, a couple pages further back that show how we've broken out with what the membership dues and fees are. That's where those numbers came from, and that's planning on 2 staff members to go to the convention. And 7 board members to go to the convention. So we budgeted dollars for you guys to go to the conference. So the money's there, whether you go or not. It's there for now. We really didn't have that discussion on who's going and who's not. It's really early to tell. It's in
If
October.
you guys get the opportunity to go to that, I highly recommend going to that OFA convention, because it's extremely useful. There's so much to learn. I know that's where, like, a lot of the stuff that we're doing now has come from just going in those workshops and stuff, so.
It was in October, is that the one that you're talking about?
Yeah, and it will be at the Washington County Fairgrounds, so it is really close. I mean, it's not gonna be any closer than that.
Yeah.
You know? We had a convention meeting this morning, and there's some great programming on it. Kind of a marketing advertising track, and then like a fair management track.
Do we have the exact dates on that yet?
I do, I can get them to you.
Okay.
Yeah. If you have any particular questions on any of these, by all means, pop out.
County fair entertainment dropped 30, but then fair entertainment dropped 30, but then county fair expense went up 25. What?
So that was just kind of like a correction, and if you look at this page that I handed you guys all in your, just as a separate handout. You'll see that we need to go over on our fair expenses and we're under on our fair entertainment, and I really think that it's mostly just because ever since I've been here, I've been building this budget off of the transactions there, where we paid significantly more, so the entertainment number was higher. Because we paid more for transactions.
Yeah.
I think we had to stick with it, but that's mostly because the cost of everything had gone up so much that. To do
And-
the same fare that we were doing, we basically have to pay that much difference.
And the fair entertainment is the concert and the extra entertainment, correct?
It is, correct, yes. Yeah, so back up a little further, contractual services, that 110. That again also has a separate sheet that breaks out where that number comes from. It's so 80 of that, so 50 of that's budgeted for us to do the strategic plan, and I think 25 of that is for us to have wetland consulting. The balance of that is like service contracts to have an electrician on contract and a plumber on contract, and the garage doors, the fire extinguishers and all that. So that's all spelled out in a separate sheet in here, so you have an idea of those numbers come from.
Okay.
Temp help, just kept it at 10K, I think. This is something to be thinking about as we're rolling into the fair, maybe instead of counting on temp help to do those, that we sign a contract with like a janitorial company or something. We'll just have to shift those dollars around as we go, but that's the money that we spent on that type of stuff in the past. Advertising concerts, 20K, really that's 10K for next year, but we have 10K left over this year. So as we're getting into the fair and the end of this budget, then we'll use 10K of that at the fair time between July and August. And then we'll have 10K for next spring, when we need to start advertising the 2026 fair. The other advertising is for our other events, the rodeos, the wedding venue, just facility rentals in general, or any other advertising we want to do. Fuel, education, training. Utilities, we just planned a 5% increase on utilities. Don't have anything from any of the utility companies that say what their rate increases are gonna be. That's a large chunk of our expense. And then, yeah, you hit on that shift there between the fair expenses and the fair And so you see they basically balance out their rate in there, and that's in line with, again, what's on this page for what was spent on the fair last year. So that's our fair budget. The general entertainment, I increased that by the 25K, so this is that rodeo conversation. You know, we don't have to use those dollars, but that's the money that we have set aside to produce events ourselves, so. You know, we had, last year, we had the idea of doing a rodeo event and a motorsport event and a concert, with all the fun, we got the rodeo done. And it's fantastic. If we're going to do 2 nights of the rodeo, I don't know if that's what we're gonna do or not yet, but if that is what we decide to do, at least we have the dollars set aside so that it's available for us. Again, any one of those dollars that's spent should turn into $2 coming back to us.
Yeah.
I mean, ideally, or maybe not $2, but 50 cents or.
I think the rodeo could definitely be a two-day event. You know,
Yeah.
kind of oversold the last one, and there's a lot of people that didn't go, so that would love to go, so.
Yeah, you know, the question is he gonna charge us double for the second day, or is he gonna charge us? We'll have to see when that comes out.
Yeah.
Tillamook is having their Bulls and Bronx event this weekend, and Dusty's doing it more.
I had a good conversation with him today, so.
The indirect cost is the dollars we pay to the county for the overhead. That's for finance and legal and all of that. Ours has gone down. We're like the only department that the indirect costs went down. They're trying to reformulate it, so, because they need to cover like maintenance or also of their buildings. So in the past, they've really only looked at staff, but now they're trying to look at impacts on their buildings by square footage as well, but since we do all of our own maintenance, we're not involved in that part of it anyway. For capital outlay, I kept the tent in there, that's the 3,000. I'm not sure if we'll really be there in this fiscal year, or if we know enough to know where we want to put it. It depends on how much and how quickly we move on the strategic plan, but I really don't think we should be deciding where to set that until you go through that strategic planning process. The money's in there. I've made a note. Each one of these capital projects has its own project page. It even says on there that this may or may not happen. If it doesn't, we'll roll it over again, but we have this tent that we either need to put it up or we need to get rid of it. And then, plugged in the 600K for the roof budget. So those are the 2 capital projects in the budget for next year. That leaves a reserve of about, currently as it is, we've got those numbers to get from the county still on insurance and those other little minor numbers that shouldn't be big, but about 524,000, and that's about $100,000. So our reserve is ticking down a little, but we are doing a significant project. So, you know, as we're thinking in the strategic plan about things we want to do, that's all we have, and we still have another to do on the other side. So the rest of these pages, there are those worksheets, you know, those particular lines. And then the last 2 sections, those are the projections for the end of this year. That we will bring that over. Perfect.
Okay, anyone have anything on that before we move on to exhibitor camping? No?
Okay, we've got exhibitor camping and fair poster. There are 2 things that we'd really like to see get going. We haven't changed anything on the 2024 camping rules, I suppose. And so we just wanted to bring you what we had last year and say, is there anything that you guys had from last year that you want to see changed? If not, we'll just change the dates and get the registration going.
I don't think there were any issues that I know of last year. I think it went really well. I would suggest that we just change the dates on it.
I have no adjustment that needs to be made personal.
Have you all been able to take a look at it all? Do you guys have any questions or anything on it?
I wasn't here last year. It should went well.
Yeah, I'll just say that this has gone for the last 3 years, but this has gone through basically being almost no rules. reasonable rules, and then we kind of tweaked it a little last year. I don't even really remember what we tweaked. Like
It's pretty
stuff with
minor,
dogs,
it was
yeah.
ATVs and dogs and campfire and stuff.
Uh, I don't recall having any complaints. I think probably the only complaint that we got regarding campings, people being told that this is the move-in day and then other people. moving in. That's it.
Perfect. Okay, so yeah, I think just changing the dates on that would be perfect. You know, don't need a motion or anything for that, right?
I think as long as you guys have consensus is,
Perfect. Okay, we'll go to fair poster.
yeah, Kristen did a great job. She mirrored the project from last year, made a flyer. Basically trying to get as much information to you guys now so that you can make a decision on it. This is if you like. And, you know, really, what it comes down to is we need the poster to be able to market the fair. So the sooner we can get this issue out and done, the better.
Yep.
And it's really, again, basically the same thing as we had last year.
No, I think it's great. It's fun to see everyone participate and join in on it. Kristen, you did a great job as always on that. I think it's perfect. I don't have anything to say on it. I already looked at it.
We'll note that the Columbia County Fair has selected the same thing that we have.
We chose ours first though.
We did.
They just copied my ideas all. It was so good.
There's a contradiction. One says 11 by 17, the other one says 11 by 14.
Yes, it does. Yeah, it's that.
So which one is this?
11 by 17. Thanks.
And is there a need to specify what type of concert ticket? Or
I don't think so.
Um,
It says August 1st. So it'll be,
I just meant reserve, like if that was, because there's reserve versus general.
we'll look and see what we did last year.
Yeah.
yeah,
We'll do the
If there
same
was
thing.
any issues.
Last year we had 3 entries, so hopefully we can get some more.
yeah, it'd be cool to maybe touch base with the art teachers at the high schools or something. I don't think it's necessarily always like seen, maybe as much as we'd like to try to hope it is. It all depends on the algorithms of social media.
Yeah,
So
I had gone around to like the arts coalition and some of the galleries to try to get them.
The 4-H has art clubs too.
yeah. Yep. So I think actually like maybe giving it to the specific places would be a
Send
good
it to
idea.
the
So
schools.
anything else on that?
On the rules page, the deadline is April 4th. And he said the fair board will review and provide, that's after our first. Isn't it?
I think we just emailed them out and look at them that way too.
Do that way.
Yeah.
And it had a hard copies of the meeting.
Yeah,
Look, the fact that we are gonna have a meeting mid-April,
yeah,
Put that on the
we can
agenda.
maybe adjust this date so that it lines up to just before that fair workshop.
Anything you send the schools, you wanna do it before May, we're very tired. May and June, we're done. Yeah, no. In May and June, we're pretty much tapped out, but at the end of April, we're still
Yeah.
paying attention.
Well, and we really need it before then, right? Like, we need to have a place there.
okay,
If
awesome.
you guys see anything else on this, send us a message.
Perfect. Anyone else on the fair poster contest? Nope, okay. Photographer was by and got pictures. Elise will kind of coordinate with you and figure it all out. I know you work at a school, so you might have a school photo too, so, but we'll figure it out. And then I have my bio done. I'll just send to you. I don't know if anyone else.
I think I had from MJ and John, I had some conversations with Elise, but I couldn't find it if she had sent it to me. Okay. so
Perfect.
she's gonna send it.
Okay,
So that just leaves,
okay,
Send them to you.
just email me and just brief, it's like 2 or 3 sentences. If you do longer, we're gonna have to turn it down. It's a problem.
what, so remind me, are we using these to introduce people as like a Facebook thing or
Yeah,
what?
so we'll give it to the county communications department and
Mhm.
they'll issue out that these are the new fair board members. They'll be the whole thing, just like they did before when they did.
Yeah. It might be fun to do maybe a longer one too, just for like for our Facebook where we can put it out there and then people can actually, I mean. 2 to 3 sentences is, hi, I'm Mallory and I lived in Clatsop
And
County
I
my whole
think
life.
what I've received from everybody has been
So.
more than, it's been a couple paragraphs.
Yeah.
Paragraphs.
So it might be okay to have like both options and be able to do it both ways, but. Okay. I think that's all we have for the work session, and guess what? It's 5:51, guys. It's not past the time limit.
Nice.
Right?
Job, Mallory.
So,
I feel
all
like we
right.
should talk more.
I mean, not, huh?
I feel like you guys should talk more.
Oh, I can talk all day. Don't you worry about that.
So
No, we'll just-
recess until the.
Yeah, we'll take a break until 6, so we've got 8 minutes and get a breather and then start back. if we can go ahead and do an agenda approval really quick, or do we wanna, before that? No, we need to do an agenda approval first. Okay, does anyone
So,
want?
just a quick note, this must have been an old template. That appointment of chair and vice chair.
Yeah, I think it's that. I think we're good with that one. So, okay, so back to agenda approval. If anyone wants to go ahead and do that.
I heard that there's a little birdie in the room that wanted to have a spot on the agenda,
Perfect.
for the 4-H Association.
I like it. Let's go ahead and put that on the business agenda. Someone wants to make a motion to do that?
I move to add the 4-H Association to the business agenda.
Perfect. And we have a second. All in favor? All opposed? All right, motion carries to add that. And then do we need to have another approval for the agenda itself, or are we good to just move on? Perfect, sounds good. Okay, so we will really quickly, before we jump in there, if we can introduce our guests that we have here. Kyle?
Yeah, so we got Dale and Jay here from the planning department. You all have met Dale a few times, but Jay Blake is working on the conditional use permit update. He's kind of doing the field work on it, and he wanted to come in and just introduce himself and get 10 seconds if he does.
Go. I'm Jay. I'm helping Kyle with the application for the conditional use. I will be putting together the application for our hearings officer. And we look forward to having that hearing on April 10th during the day. We'll keep you all posted.
Just informed me just now.
Yes.
Full hand.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay. All right, so we will go to public comment for right now. At this time, anyone wishing to address the Fair Board concerning items of interest on or off the agenda may do so. The person addressing the Fair Board will, when recognized, give their name, address for the record. All remarks will be addressed to the whole board and limited to 3 minutes per person. Fair Board members reserve the right to delay any action if required until such time when they are fully informed and the matter is scheduled as an agenda item. Anyone with public comment? Besides needing to refill the soap from the bathrooms?
Yeah, the soap's been.
If you would like to talk, man.
I'm April Bellingham, 90171 Logan Road. I just want to address, we were at the Ducks Unlimited banquet. What day was that?
The first Saturday, March
Saturday.
1st.
The soap and the hand sanitizer ran out like not even halfway through the banquet, and the women's bathroom still has no soap.
Okay. We intend to swap out all of those automatic ones and put in manuals. Just keep having problems. There's soap in them and they don't work.
Okay.
So we're gonna go back to old school. The soap's actually even cheaper too. Yeah. So
Is it something to maybe think about where I know we have Kelly and he does a lot of the maintenance stuff, but is it maybe something, thank you guys.
Thank you very much.
Is it
you.
something that we want to think about hiring a actual like janitorial service type of situation for our bathrooms and that kind of thing, or?
I mean, I can look into it. I have no clue what that costs.
Yeah, I mean, I don't either. I feel like that's maybe something that is a continual,
Yeah, because
Problem.
it's like if you have an event
yeah,
and it's like we're dealing with people's plates and dishes,
Correct.
it's like, okay, so now where do I go wash the ranch?
yeah.
Feet off my hands?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I know I wasn't the only one that needed to wash my hands,
Yeah.
but there's nobody to talk
I
to.
hope not.
Is there a minimum hours that a part-time employee has to have per week or per month or anything like that with the county?
I think there's a maximum. I think if you start getting into minimums, though, you're gonna have a really hard time finding somebody that be willing to take the job.
Well, I'm thinking about somebody for the weekend. Just to be here scheduled for the weekends for all these events and stuff that we've got going to make sure things are stocked and maintained and
But
read.
even if we have like some sort of like a contract with someone like we have for the, heating and the electrical and, that kind of thing. Like if we have a contract with them, we're like, hey, we've got this event, this date, blah, 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 we need you to come in, and even just like pre-setting everything up, right? Like,
So I'm just trying to understand what problem we're trying to solve, like if there's like.
the soap not being filled.
Yeah,
and
like, but I
not being ready and.
No, I understand about the soap, but I think I heard you said there is soap in there, but the dispensers are not working is probably. I just wanted to make sure we understand what problem we're trying to solve before we go to solve it.
Really,
Who do you contact when I'm having an event here and there's no soap? Or something's broken, like, people are paying money. They shouldn't have to, like, who do they go to contact?
And so that information is in the rental information that we give to the person that actually rented the event. My contact information is all there. And, typically we show the person that's renting it, where the janitorial and the backup supplies and that stuff are, but often with the events, the person that did the booking is not necessarily the person that's responsible throughout the actual event.
But if we are renting it, I feel like, maybe that's the case. I
Let's
can't
see.
say if it's empty or not, but
Yeah.
if it's empty,
Yeah,
And I mean,
sometimes they are, but
it should be stocked and full.
sometimes they are, and sometimes they're full and they just don't work as they. I don't know.
Yeah. I think,
But I think another point like to think about is like talking about adding an extra staff person. This is definitely, I think, a piece that we would want to look at in as an operational component of our strategic plan. But that's part of the reason why our fees are so affordable compared to a lot of other event centers. So in theory, if we're hiring somebody to be here during their event, the event rental would be possible.
and I'm not even mentioning that part. I'm just saying like, if it is empty, like,
Yeah.
there's no way they had that many people wash their hands to have it
So,
empty.
like,
by the
I
time.
know myself replaced both of those hand soaps during the board show the weekend before. It's very unlikely that they got ran out just in that last week, so there's probably something.
Okay, so that's something we can circle back to and figure out, but I do think we need to come up, and I know we did talk about some sort of like janitorial person for fair.
Yeah.
So that might be, the way of being able to do things
Figuring
as
out
well,
when we
so.
want them to- Don't necessarily. That's what that-
Yeah, cause I know we've had multiple times where it's not worked, especially even at fair.
I think there's even something on the check-in, check-out form where we ask folks to report to us. Most people don't read those.
Yeah, in a perfect world, they'd read it all, but
Didn't, weren't we talking about how the fair maintenance person was actually gonna be a two-person job in the
Well,
future?
Matt had mentioned it in the past, and I think I had mentioned that to you as well.
If we ever did that, would they be Monday through Friday, you think, or would it be 4 10s or?
so right now Kelly is a very long-term senior county employee, and so we kept his days Monday through Friday. He comes on the weekends here and there, but it's overtime. So any new staff member would be mid-weekdays off, in my humble opinion. I realize I'm getting off the board here, but any new staff member coming forward would, as far as this part of it goes, you would want here on the weekend.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not
So
every event on every weekend would be somebody here either.
Yeah.
Like a wedding, you don't necessarily have somebody here for somebody's wedding or something like that.
Were you mentioning though that this would be part of the strategic
Like an operational.
Yeah.
conversation?
Yep.
Is it already on there?
That's on my radar for it. It's
Okay.
definitely something. Preventive maintenance, operations, marketing, those are in addition to like the land use and strategic, like construction, capital planning. It's tough. We are a very small team.
Yeah.
Like, we've got these horse stalls now, they gotta get put in. It's like, how are we gonna get this done? Like, there's such a small team. You need 2 people to move them. It's not a 1-person job. It's probably more than a 2-person job. And so
yeah, I think that's where we find the people that wanna be involved and we ask for help, so. Okay, so,
There
Yep.
are local janitor supply companies that will provide this service for free. Kyle's aware, Kyle has contacts.
Yep.
Come in and check the dispensers and stuff like
Yep.
that. Didn't realize that.
perfect, okay.
Awesome.
That is good to know. We will bring that to the strategic plan meeting. Anyone else have public comment on anything? Nope. All right, we will move to the consent calendar for approval on meeting minutes. We have our February 4th and February 11th meeting minutes, I believe, for approval. Is that correct?
Yep.
Yes,
Okay. Anyone has any questions on any of those or wants to make a motion?
I move to accept the two meetings from the 4th to 11th, approved as written.
Okay, do we have a second?
We just need to approve the consent calendar.
Okay, perfect. Do you want to make a motion to approve the consent calendar?
I make a motion to approve the consent calendar.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Thanks.
All opposed? All right, motion carries. We'll move on to board member reports. First up, concert.
Concert committee, that's with Matt, myself, Bruce, and Brittany helping out. We had a great meeting, I think. Some of the items that we really focused on, especially were topics that relate to the other committees, for instance, advertising and marketing, volunteer, security, parking, and then vendor. Volunteer and vendor I am involved with. So there is some overlap which is helpful. So I'm not sure actually our process of connecting with other teams, since I think originally we were gonna meet mid-March and now we're moving that out, so.
First, yeah. Yeah, I mean, we'll have to do it at that time. And then, I can be the go-between on particular items as far as, the other committee's gonna need to have some input on these items or. The volunteers is affected by like entertainment, like how many supervisors do we need for the inflatables and things like that, so there's some crossover that we gotta get sorted out, but that group meeting's gonna really help get that conversation going.
And then for others that were in the meeting, Bruce and Matt, and Brittany were really helpful bringing me up to speed on their roles and what they've done before, so that was a document. I was like, okay, also because I couldn't listen to them because you asked me. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, you have anything to add on that?
Not really, we're just kind of waiting for it to look closer so we can really start hammering on some of that stuff.
Did we get the approval or for ticket sales or ticket link, any of that up and going yet?
Yes, so, just before the convention, we finally got the link from ETIX, but with us being at the convention, we wanted to be able to make sure that we prayed and tested beforehand. So Kristen got that stuff issued now, so the link is live right now on our website. It just hasn't had any announcement.
Yes.
So tomorrow morning, we'll work on a post and get that announced out.
Awesome.
Tickets are technically on sale right now.
Anyone else on that?
I'll just add a couple things. The stage is booked through Backstage Electric again. I've got a list of 5 or 6 sound vendors. We're definitely gonna get one from Cascade Sound that's done our sound. But we need to get at least 3 quotes. And, it's in our interest to shop around with it. We do need to have some discussion on what we want to do for Saturday night. Right now, we've reserved the stage for 2 nights. Once I get into my report, I'll go into some of the conversations that came up from the fairs festivals and events convention last week. There's a lot of concern about the Hispanic community turning out for events, just in the events industry or across the board. So, I think doing some out, I don't want to count it out yet, because I really think that's something that went well for us. I think some engagement with some local groups, advocacy groups, to, make sure that they can be comfortable coming out and feel safe coming out to an event, or if we should be shifting to some other type of So format for that night. Or package it together. Yeah, so the second night concert. The other stuff is all chugging away. The other stuff is not nearly as. Pregnant or urgent as getting the stage and the sound.
Something to kind of think about too on that second night concert is the fact that the auction is gonna be later, so. Not sure timing wise what that would really look like.
And I think I would like to see us try to do that to where it's more like B stage acts that have just moved on to the main stage. And so. They should just be free and open.
Yeah.
Not necessarily a big ticketed production.
Yeah. Okay.
So one thing that we did one year, if we could, it's called a worship night. Where like a bunch of the local bands and stuff in the churches and stuff came together. That was the most
Yeah.
attended night of the fair.
Yeah.
It was really, really popular. And so there's some pretty, I mean, if you guys wanted to switch gears, there's some pretty big name, like Christian singers and stuff that would draw a pretty large crowd. And they don't come into the area very often. It's something that a lot of the other fairs, like, probably not super popular in the other fairs, so it's not something that we're be competing with. It'd just be something to look at to see if it would draw a crowd and bring some traction and stuff. And if we got some of those bigger names, like they go fill up the Moda Center, sold out.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and so it's just something to look at.
I like that.
I know I've had some other conversation, and I don't recall, maybe it was even with you, I don't know. I know some venues will do those like on Sunday. Was, when you did it here in the past, you know, was it on this?
No, it was on like a Wednesday or Thursday night, yeah.
That's an idea. What about food? I am a little worried. I do want to see us maybe make that choice or whatever we're gonna do, because who we have used in the past. I don't want to do him wrong. If we do, then put it out there and get different bids and don't go with him. He's got some pretty big events that he could do. And he needs to plan out his summer and where he can have people. So I think that if we could make a.
So I would say that was one of the items that was on the group workshop discussion list. We're gonna be talking about what type of food options we want. I mean, we need to get at least 3 bids no matter what. And. But some of that is deciding the types of foods. I think Andy can do whatever. But that depends on who else we get quotes from, depends on the type. Another point too is that on our sign up sheet, been asking what they're interested in.
Yeah.
So if we can get that really pushed through, maybe by April 1st, we can have some input on the options, and I can reach out to Sadie and Andy. So it's just kind of.
Yeah, I think it's some
And
sort of
maybe
like,
some ideas.
and
of
that
different
exactly
food
it.
options.
Exactly it. So yeah, I think just being able to have a conversation, I mean, he comes in and I see him all the time, so that's why I'm getting.
Yeah.
Getting that conversation. I don't want to see him lose out on $100 a plate event just to hold a spot for us.
Yeah.
If that's something he can do, because he wants to do it. He likes working with us. He loves being able to do it. I don't want to do him wrong in that aspect. So, yeah, the sooner the better on that one.
Talk with him on Friday night during the drone show.
Yeah.
They had a drone show.
Okay, entertainment, Bruce, Joel and I, will get together here shortly. It's been kind of touch and go trying to get everyone together. We do have Ride Hard, entertainment booked already, as well as, did you talk to Rascal Rodeo?
Rascal Rodeo is lined up.
Okay.
I don't have a contract with them, but we are on their calendar.
Okay,
Everything, so.
so those are two that are for sure.
There's also a shear to shawl that we booked, and so they'll do a Friday and a Saturday only, and it's like. They have the yarn and they
We don't
spin it
pay
one
them,
day,
right?
no, it's free, they're just coming to do it this way, they spin it one day and then they like pay it up and move up the thing the next day.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And then the other one that I talked with is the ride truck, and so he's ready to come as well. I've told him I'm intending for you to come, I just need to get on the same page with you all, but he said it's great. It's ready to come and go.
Which,
The ride truck, the monster truck.
oh, okay. Okay,
They pay us. So
Yeah.
it's,
yeah,
Good one.
Yep.
Popular.
okay, so vendors, I know you gave a list here.
Yeah.
You guys have any?
We had a meeting, Joel, Don, myself, Kristen. We did decide that we're gonna only get involved in approvals when it's an exception or there's anticipated a rejection. And then we're gonna meet every 2 weeks, just for short meetings, just to stay connected.
Yeah, so we can respond to these applicants quickly.
Yeah.
Maybe, like you said, only when there's like, is this too many duplicates of the same thing?
Yeah.
Those types of conversations that the team is taking. But you all were handed this handout with, this is the current. You can also get onto, the Eventity, you all should have a link to get into the software and you can see real time vendors that are in there.
So these are the vendors that we already have confirmed.
Yes,
Cool. Great.
I am meeting with Brew 22. I am doing everything I can to make sure that he is here. Whether that's me personally going out and walking with them to pull their car up, whatever it takes, they will be at fair, so.
and you know, the security we have, they will, as long as they know what it's happening. You know, they'll work with us and help as well.
Yeah.
Right, I mean, safety wise, I know that that's our big issue is making sure that there's no one in the way and then all of that, so. I don't wanna see us have issues with that, and I am taking that one on personally.
So we don't need to worry about finding a coffee vendor.
No, I am,
I mean,
Excellent.
if you have some other options, I guess, but I don't know.
It's hard to find people with a mobile.
yeah, that's the problem. And then them actually being there to serve people is what we ran into last year with who we thought would kind of fill that gap, so. I am, like I said, taking that one on personally and we'll be making sure that that happens.
Tell Jeff he has to do it because I want my white hot chocolate.
I just saw him the other night at baseball, so
Nice.
I think we're good, but I just wanna make that one clear.
And I tried getting a hold of Frank a few times. I haven't gotten through to him, the barbecue.
Yeah.
So, but I'm gonna keep trying.
I need to keep hoping. So,
And then are we looking at any of them to see if we're like missing any that we need? I know we're kind of getting together and saying yes or no type situations, but are we?
so we met
Actively
on
looking.
Wednesday evening and then I had a half a day in the office on Thursday morning, but that's on my action list from the meeting on, and then.
Okay.
Getting ready for this meeting.
Yep.
But, that's the goal is to say, you know, what are our needs? And I think just off the top of my head right now, a barbecue. Teriyaki noodle, we have a Thai, but a teriyaki noodle would be
Yep.
one. Another like traditional hamburger type one. Or just general food, I think, but yeah, the Hawaiian barbecue one would be another good mix. Just something that's not exactly like any of these other ones, but like like I said, like a hamburger type of thing is kind of universal. It's definitely used multiple of those.
Whatever happened to elephant here?
It's on there.
Oh, I
Um,
didn't see it.
The guy that does the lemonades does.
Okay.
This is another conversation too that I'm looking to follow up. The guy, Brian, I think his last name, but he owns the Grandma Her Spots. It's exciting. The pretzel and
That's,
it's a thing. But they are massive in the beer industry, like. This is, to have that type of person that's in our local community. They, I mean, they're across the entire country. They have massive, like, so, and he talked to me early on, and I thought he was just talking about concessions. But they can potentially do something for us. I think what the problem has been up until now is just the week of our fair is just so busy. They haven't been able to be here. But he said maybe he was heading to Houston because there's a big thing in Houston this week. Said when he gets back, he's gonna give me a call, so maybe someone can stop.
Okay,
He does the concessions contract for the wingspan, this girl. Like, if you have an event with concessions. it's gonna run.
Awesome.
Concessions work.
okay,
There is the balance there too, guys, about having too much, right? That, you know, you get to a point, we wanna have options for our people that are here, our patrons, but at the same time, you want the vendors that are here doing well.
yeah,
So when you spread it too thin, you know, you've got 15 or 20 food vendors and they make $500 for the week, you know?
yeah,
So
I,
it's gotta make it worth it a while.
and I wouldn't even, I mean, this is my opinion, is I wouldn't necessarily look for another burger place, because we have the ML Express that does burgers, and then we have the chicken,
Like last year, we had Smash Burger as well. That was like the other burger place and. You know, here's the breakdown from last year.
Yeah, I saw that.
Which Smash Burger did really well and ML Express had a record year and the chicken had a record year.
yeah,
Well, that's four.
I did write
Yeah,
close to Smash, but
The ML Express had a long line the whole time. And
Yeah.
There's a lot of demand for that.
But we were also down the two vendors that failed.
Yeah.
correct, yeah. Okay, so anything else on vendors?
I think you're gonna, well, Kyle, you're gonna get the handbill for handing out.
Yes, so there's a stack of them on the table over there. Thanks for reminding me. You guys could all take a handful of those and if you see folks that. They might be vendors, and there's just a handout you can hand right to them. It's got a QR code, I think it's got fair dates on it. And it takes you right to our events page.
Perfect.
Thanks for reminding me. Andrew.
Yeah.
Security and parking?
So we talked about we didn't really talk
I
about
think we got
security.
just before the last week.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
So there isn't really any updates, except the only thing I'm curious about is where forgive me, I wasn't on the fair board last year, but where the handicap parking was before, it would be nice to open some of that up for vendors if we can find vendors, not necessarily food vendors, it's just
Yeah.
if we can find more attractions
Yeah, and that's,
but we don't know if it would be approved to even put handicap parking in the other spots we talked about.
Well, and I will say, we need to do something about this area
Yeah,
right
so
here,
that-
and this needs to be filled up.
That's something, Joel. So last year, this whole side over here was basically empty. And so we've got a lot of room to
Okay.
work with.
Yeah.
over
That's
here.
not an issue.
Yeah.
Yes. Got it.
yeah, I know, and hopefully Matt, you can come show up for our workshop when we do it. It's just really helpful when we pin that out. What we did last year for the parking worked really well. But yeah, we do have some more space over here that we can.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, that's a large conversation to have about parking. We did pin out some ideas on, you know, other options for VIP parking and maybe some closer handicap parking that's shoveled in the grass. But a lot of that really is gonna end up depending on what we decide as a team for type of activities is gonna happen in that parking lot.
Yeah.
So if we're doing an activity over there, then that's gonna change our parking situation.
Yeah.
If that's all available to us, that makes things, I don't know if they make them any easier, but it makes our fair smaller. It's fair.
Parking kind of takes a backseat to how much room we need for all the activities and
Yeah,
events.
you go, really, we have like almost unlimited parking.
Yeah.
It's just, you have to walk.
Yeah.
And the handicap piece is true.
Yeah.
Get in and out.
Okay, so anything else on that? We'll move to volunteers.
Volunteers, we just had a quick meeting, mostly waiting for that working session to start building out that volunteer outline.
You know we have needs for like. Readers and helping the ticket booth and maybe some input, you know, we really gotta kind of lay out our zones and our. Parking situation and what activities we have that need volunteers to really get revved up, but we were talking about which type of groups we could reach out to. Try to get their volunteers.
Okay.
And we'll build on that.
All right, and then anything else on that? Okay, marketing and sponsorships. Again, I just kind of talked with a couple of them tonight, so we will get a date going on that. I know, I've already had a couple conversations for concert sponsorships, so hopefully we'll get that rolling, and start figuring out marketing, so.
Yeah, they're on there.
But I mean, that'll be.
And it's on their website.
Yeah, sorry.
nope, you're fine. Didn't know if you had anything.
Yeah, to wrap into that, really like, we hit on the, poster, so that's the
Yeah.
big thing, that's a good piece to get rolling. Kristen made some Rodney Atkins flyers over there, if you guys wanna take some of them. Right now, they just say buy tickets and sponsorships available, so as we get more sponsorships, we'll update those. But there's some flyers that are available for that. And then we'll start doing some Facebook posts every day. We may even do, we just did post just early on as the big announce. Usually you'll see an uptick immediately, and then it's gonna be slow until the fair starts, and then we'll hit it hard again. But we do have early bird special, so we want to advertise the early bird special while it's active.
Okay. I will kind of touch base too with some of our previous sponsors and go from there, hopefully. And then open class, I know that Elise
Yeah, she's got a comment here.
made a comment in there. Sounds like she met briefly with Katrina, offering help. They'll be in contact more. For the security end of it, Joel, Kyle, and then you met. Okay, yeah, so that they kind of touched base on that part already, so. Okay, really quickly back on the board member reports, besides our committees, does anyone have anything?
I've got nothing.
Nope.
I'd like to just ask that, do we want to try to lock in like an axe throwing contest thing? Is there gonna be room in that lower parking lot? We could make that happen if I can make it happen.
I think that's something we can talk about when we get together for the entertainment piece, yeah, for sure.
I think that if you have something that is like, firm for both of what it is, so we know kind of what we need for space for it. I think we certainly want to see some type of timber store thing if we can have it, for sure. But where's it gonna go?
Yeah, that's just it.
Fine room.
But yeah, I was actually went up to North Plains and visited with the people that had an axe throwing cart, and they, unfortunately, that is the same weekend as I think like Vernonia Days or something they've got going on, so they can't come. Yep. So for this year, it's a no-go, but potentially later too. So she said she was totally happy to work with us and help get something together. So we'll circle back around with that. Thank you. Bruce? Anything besides the committees? No?
I'm good.
Okay. I do have something. I have been thinking about it, and I think going into having a brand new board, and Matt leaving. Thank you so much. And I am sitting here like brand new board, want to make sure that we all like are on the same page. I think having these meetings and going all over all of the things that are going to happen at fair are awesome. But I think also putting an expectation out there and having an understanding of what's going to happen the time fair comes around. I don't necessarily know if we've really had that conversation. And for the past few years, we've had a board that has been so present and so helpful at the fairs that they have been the people out doing the bathrooms and helping do whatever we possibly can and pick up the garbage that's on the side. And, all of us have made it to every morning meeting, and, some of us have kids, some of us don't, but we've all really been present and show our community that, as a board, we are here to support the kids, which it's all about. And so, I don't think there's anything in our rules and bylaws that says you are there for the week of fair and you are there to be present, but I think it speaks volumes to who we are as a board when we are there, and we are the people picking up the garbage that is on the side because our help is busy doing other things. And so I just want you guys to maybe like everyone to just kind of sit on that and chew on that and have another person. We have a position opening, and so spreading the word if someone is going to be wanting to be a part of it and jump on to really be aware that that's it's not just sitting here in a room talking about it, it's hitting the ground and being available and being that person. So
I love the shirts.
yes, the shirts. Yeah. So previously I'm probably the last man standing that's, willing to throw pink pants on, and you bet your ass I will have them on every day probably. But we had shirts that called us out and said we were the fair board and gave a visual to someone if they needed help, that they could come to us. And we were all there. We were always available. And again, I think that just, you know, we don't just sit around a table and plan it. We get there and we make it happen the day of and the week of as well. So that's all it's been on my mind, and I just want to make sure that, you know, there's that expectation and understanding. So
Might not be written in there or anything, but I know that when I was interviewed and talked to you about it, that was made clear to me. So hopefully,
But I mean, there's no written like rule, but it is in there that the expectation is that you'd help as much as possible during fair.
I know it was emphasized, basically like open your schedule up fair week.
Yeah.
So that's all I got on that. So we'll go back to managers, or we'll go to manager report now.
At least says she likes the shirt idea, but not the pants.
I told you, you know, it's okay. I'll wear them every day for everyone.
Okay.
Can't hear me, you can see me.
Yeah, we'll try to jam through my stuff quickly. I know we've got David here too. Yes, vacancy. I just want to say thank you, Matt. Like, I really appreciate all the support that you've given the team. All of the guidance you've had. Gonna miss having to come to the meetings and being able to call you. I'm still probably gonna call you for questions.
That's fine. I won't be.
That being said, I talked with Teresa about the advertisement. She's gonna get it out this week. It will probably be tomorrow. It might be Wednesday. It will go through, we said the Monday before the meeting, so the next meeting. So whatever date that ended up being, basically the day before the meeting will be the deadline. But we'll have an opportunity to do those, and then it'll go to the county board and then like get into their. One of the questions we had on the concert ticket was chairs in the VIP, not the VIP, in the reserve area. I can't recall if we did no chairs or if we did limited chairs.
Limited is what we did last year, I thought,
Yeah, we did.
and it was much better.
So it's like 100 chairs or something.
Yeah.
No, like in the,
It was like 80, wasn't it, or 100?
there was 50 chairs in the preferred seating area. And then it was, I think we did 200 or 100, oh no, 150.
I think it was 200, and then we had the tables is what we kind of anticipated, right?
Not way down last year though, to like 150.
Maybe.
So really the main
Yeah.
question, the main reason that question is because on the ticketing page, we'll
Yeah.
want that.
Yeah.
We're not gonna put a number, we're just saying limited.
Yeah, preferred seating was limited seating.
Bring a chair.
Yeah.
Limited first come first, served, yeah.
Or vacancy. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, it's come, the last meeting, in this meeting as well, the charters come up. And I think that's something that, we'll want to put into our work plan here sooner or later to revise the charter, the bylaws. I did get one of the sessions I sat in was with the whole county fair manager. She had like a 12-page packet. And, it goes over things like, what are your rules of order? What are your attendance requirements? The charter bylaws aren't really like, this is the day of the fair. But it does have stuff like you're expected to volunteer. This is how you conduct your meetings, things like that. And so, yours definitely need to be updated. It does still save 5 members. So that's one of these things to be updated. But it's a good time to take an opportunity. So, I just wanted to put that on your radar that that's a project that we need to be exploring soon. We'll be promoting for our events, like, we try to promote for events as people give us information. We ask them for information basically every time they book an event, but we don't always get stuff from them. Knowing that we're rolling into this, for our tax, we're gonna be pushing much harder and even going above and beyond to maybe promote some of the events themselves. If we don't get some information, trying to collect and get more stuff for them. I mean, obviously, we still want to work with them because we don't want people to be mad at us for saying something that we shouldn't have. We definitely want to make it clear how much is actually happening. The Carnival contract is signed, so that was completed. We had the septic tank pumped last week, that was something that came up, so. That was something that is a big item, that's good. The horse stalls were delivered, we need to figure out how to get to the stall, it's going to be very vigorous. It went well, but some of the stalls did tip off the truck when we were operating it. It was the driver's fault entirely, like he was given clear instructions not to remove this brace, and I took a load off, and I come back and he had removed this brace, and I think it tipped the brace. Took us twice as long to hold them. Did go over that with the supplier, and he came out the next day and looked at them. You know, took photos, there's one that looks like it hasn't been, but the rest of them, it looks like it's just scratches. So they provided us some paint, but as we get these installed over the next month, he's got that in mind that he can go after the carrier, right? It's unfortunate because the guy was told several times not to do that apparently. He didn't speak very much English, so I don't know if he just didn't understand.
So with those stalls, is the barn prepped and ready for them to go in? Okay, so,
So Kelly was sick all week last week pretty much, and I was at convention the end of the
Right.
week. Bit budget yesterday, so no, they're not ready.
okay, yeah, no, I just was asking, because we do have, so that horse show is coming up
Yeah,
in 2 weeks. Do
I've been
we,
talking with her about, what they need. She's been texting me while I'm here, I haven't really been able to digest it, but it sounds like at most they may need like 5 of them for the show next week. But for the April show, they'll like. So,
I'm just thinking if we have maybe a planned day where, Kelly's able to get it prepped, and then maybe we can do some sort of like
Pizza
work party of some sort. I know that my husband and I will show up. I know we've got quite a few people that'd be happy to come get those done. I know Krista and her husband would probably show up as well.
Okay.
So,
I mean, if
I
we
think
plan it even, I may be able to get. The guy we got.
right, yeah, and that's what I'm thinking is like, we do have 2 weeks. It is a one-person job to get it prepped, really, because I mean, if Kelly's gonna be in there with the skid steer, getting it more flat, whatever. Can't really have multiple people in there, so if we can get it planned that he can get that done, then we can get it on a calendar, like, hey, work party this day, this is,
Is, you say it may not be necessary to jam them out before. But definitely to get that one. And then another one later on, we still have to tear out the other ones.
Right.
To put the. Yeah, that's great. If you think that we can rally some. So 2 people can move one of those panels, but by the time you put them all in, they're.
Yeah, no, I think OSET would be a great opportunity to get their families out here, and they would be more than happy to do that, so.
Said we do provide them what they want.
Exactly, that's, yeah,
Back.
so, okay, yeah, if we can get a date and figure that out, then,
Yeah, Kristen and I did a pretty detailed walkthrough as I was working on the budget, just trying to. What are all the things we need to budget for and some action list? I'll work on typing that up. Well, I don't think it's a 100% complete. It is probably 85%. So it'd be a good thing to look at. There's some projects out there.
really quickly, sorry, it sounds like maybe when on the online, it's hard to hear. I don't know if we wanna try to,
Did the walkthrough. I know we had talked about doing the walkthrough as a full board. So at some point it would be good to schedule maybe one of our work sessions before the meeting to do the walkthrough on the property. I can type up that list ahead of time so you guys have an idea of some of the stuff that's on our card and then.
Yeah.
You have to discuss. Well. Yeah, the last thing is, we were at the fairs. The festivals and events conference last week. It's a good session, lots of good networking. The trade show wasn't as great as I wanted. There really wasn't a lot of entertainment there. There were a lot of services and we were able to talk with a lot of our vendors. So that was good. Some good training on marketing, some good training on parking. There was a lot of great sessions there. One of the big takeaways that I thought to bring back to you guys was just some of the conversation about the festival and event industry in general. Just basically like nationally, they're talking like 3% drop in tourism and 10% drop in events. People are realizing 10% drops in events, just basically nationwide. And that's all kinds of different levels. That could either be revenue, it could be attendance, it could be sponsorship. There's all different types of conversation that people were having in that. But some events are seeing upwards of 50% drop in their revenues. The other one that they pointed out in the same conversation, that since COVID, costs on average are up 60%. So much less participation and much higher cost. I don't know if it's necessarily that less people are going to events and spending just holding their money, or if it's that there's so many more events that 10% more events, every event's down by 10%. I don't know if that's the case or not. But there is a trend that they're seeing that, you know, most events are down slightly over the last year or so. And again, the big concern with the Hispanic community showing up for events. In certain communities, they're really. Other communities, it may not be as much of an issue, but it's something to keep in mind on as well. Thank you, that's my report.
Okay. We will go to business agenda. We've got David Reed here with Astoria Warrenton Area Chamber of Commerce.
Come at the podium.
Yep.
Good evening, David Reed, Executive Director of the Astoria Warrenton Area Chamber of Commerce. Longtime partner with the fairgrounds, actually, since the fairgrounds really came here, it was built, the chamber has been a partner, and we've enjoyed doing our festival here every year. We're looking forward to a food and wine festival in just about 2 months. Got the word a little while ago that we have a rate increase coming. I'm not here to complain about the rate increase. I know the costs go up. But just the timing of this is challenging for us because we have already set our vendor fees, our ticket prices. We don't have any more levers to pull to make up additional expenses. The only thing we can do is cross our fingers and hope that other 150 people come to the event. So what we're asking for is consideration that rate increase happen next year, and then we have a conversation about what happens after that. The fairgrounds for us is our preferred place. It makes the event as big as we want it to be, but it does. Since we do our event in April, it does add an additional cost for us of buses. So it doesn't cost us $21,000 to come to the fairgrounds. It cost us last year about $65,000 because of where it is. So it's all part of the consideration. But if just because of the timing this year, I am asking for consideration from this board that we accept that rate increase, but do that for 2026, not 2025.
Okay.
Yeah, any questions?
I know we talked about it a little bit, and then beforehand we talked about you know, we've maybe wanting to do a booth or a table of some sort. I don't think that we necessarily have the manpower to do that. So maybe trying to figure out like a partnering scenario where we are able to advertise or do something beyond anything advertising the fair or events or whatever it might be. But
We could probably use just a table for informational purposes, not a booth.
right.
An unmanned table.
Well, I'm just thinking like if we don't have the capacity to do that, is being able to team up with them and have something of ours on their, you know.
Yeah, our information booth would work there, and we do have an ethic that tell others are manned, but that doesn't have to be the case for a half booth or a corner somewhere that we can put information about the fair. But certainly to have it at our you know, information booth that we have where vendors and customers would be. We have to talk about that. So work that through with Kyle and Chris would be like happy to help.
Okay, so does anyone want to make a motion to allow this? Do we want to have a discussion further on it?
I think the only point I would say though, as I recall, the increase for this year was just based on an adjustment for this year, but the request is to defer it till next year. And I believe that next year's these are gonna be based on the outcomes of our strategic planning. I think is that's what we had decided. I just want to make sure that we aren't committing to the same rate for them next year. We're just talking about this year specifically, whether or not it'll be an increase, just to clarify that for his request.
And, you know, adding on to that, and that even what I informed David of the increase, like, absolutely would like to have the chamber involved in that process as we're going through it. I mean, we need to know if something's not gonna pencil out, you know, for our events, you know.
Yeah,
So-
I think with maybe making the motion, whoever wants to do it, it would be asking the chamber if you guys would maybe come to us when you are getting ready to do that, you know, budgeting, so that we can obviously have some sort of opportunity, because, you know, if we don't know when you're doing your budgeting and we're trying to do our budgeting and we're gonna keep crossing paths at the wrong time, it's not going to be sufficient for either one of us.
We talked a couple months after the event last year, but I don't remember, it was before the fair.
What was your net revenue last year?
Net revenue last year was 140. Now I pay my staff with that as a fundraiser for us as well. The economic impact of it last year, and this was an estimate, I'd like to get a grant, get somebody to help us actually run the proper numbers on it, but between 3.5 and $4 million for the region.
Oh, yeah.
Economic impact of the event, but our net is all.
I think the only thought I have is that, to my knowledge, I've only been on the fair board 6 months. There's never been an increase, and there's never been a kind of conversation. So I just think that we need to address this going forward, because our costs have gone up exponentially here. And some of the improvements we have to make here so to have the events are going to be staggering. Just in a roof replacement, it's going to be close to $1.2 million. So, I mean, we have to be very, very careful. Plus, we also have if we don't come up with a win in the coming election for our property taxes, we're going to be having a conversation, and it's going to be very, very different. So I just want to make sure that when we do this, it's understood by both parties that we really do need to address, you know, ongoing increases just for the prosperity of the fair, because of the fairgrounds, because it's costing us a lot of money.
Yeah, we welcome the conversation and understand that there's an increase coming. What that increase will be like, we'd like to be part of that conversation as well. And we need to figure out what really pencils for us too. There has been conversations with just internally of having a smaller event in a different venue. Because, you know, is that because of the attendance numbers, was that appropriate? So at some point, this won't pencil out anymore. We're not there yet. But having that conversation before that happens, because if it gets pulled out, then nobody wins, right? We want to get to a number that works perfectly.
So long term.
Yeah.
Whatever modest increase is going to be, it's going to be something. But after what you just said, can we still kind of look forward? It's such a great event for this venue and for the community. Going to a smaller venue is not imminent.
It is not.
We can work this out.
Absolutely. And there are things within this that we could do that would shrink the event a little bit to right size the event. Because we hire tents even here, right? So things like that we can do. That there's work to be done within what we're already working on that can right size the event if we need to. It might be this year, the year that we knocked it out of the park and we get our numbers back up where we were, but that's not the nationwide trend, right? So
yeah. I remember when it was in one tent in one.
Yes, in that tent for
A long time ago.
Yeah.
So the events come so far. I'm personally motivated to do whatever. It's just a great event.
Yeah. So, and again, it's not a do or die, but we're asking for consideration for this year. And I know we have an increase coming next year and having a better conversation.
If there's no other conversations, I think we all kind of agree. make a motion to keep the rate this year, and as a team, we'll, get together with you and adjust your increases for years coming, so you can plan as well.
When do you guys do your budget?
We'll start putting the budget together October, getting certain about that right after the regulatory process.
Okay, so we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'd like to make a amendment to the motion, just as long as with the stipulation that we can advertise also with some sort of flyers or something at your event.
Oh, yeah,
I will agree with that, if that helps you, yes.
okay, do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
And all opposed? All right, motion carries.
Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you very much for coming and staying and
Thank you.
letting us know. All right, we have April Bellingham.
I think Kristen has been in communications with Melissa McSwain about our bingo. I just wanted to what I wanted to do is ask you guys to consider waiving the kitchen fee for us. First I'll tell you like what the bingo is. Like all those funds go to the 4-H kids. Currently, there's about 400 youth in the 4-H program. That ranges from livestock animals, Lego club, archery, like you name it, there's a club for the kids. The money that we raise for bingo goes to those kids, whether they want, like their families can't afford the cost for 4-H, or there's leadership training that we cover the cost of that. We cover costs for kids to go to different camps. We sent quite a few kids to world retreats and National Congress retreats. Those are what our funds go to. So it benefits all those kids. The bingo is open to the public. The last few years, we had it at the Elks. Kyle can attest to how ridiculously crowded it's been. In 2001, we had one bingo at $3,470. And then 2023, we had two bingos. There was one in South County, and our profit was $7,700. And then last year, we almost did $10,000. And we were turning people away at the door because we had no room. Pretty sure we were over fire sold by quite a few people. But Kyle's also already said he would donate tickets for a raffle or bingo prize. So we love the support that you guys give us as a fair board, as the fair staff. But we also are looking at, was it $1,000 for the rental and then $400 for the kitchen. We're not using the full kitchen. We are wanting to use the walk-in to store some things. And then we're going to be using the oven to keep our pizzas warm that we'll be selling to them. So I would like your guys' consideration. I'm not asking for the full amount. I mean, I would take the full amount, but we are trying to get sponsors for the $1,000, but at minimum, I would love to see you guys waive minimum the kitchen fees if that's possible. I have a letter if you guys want to look at it too. It's just our general like bingo donation letter. Like I said, it goes directly back to the 4-H kids. It's open to all the public, and everybody's really excited to be able to have it here. I'm so grateful that we were able to get in.
Yeah. No, I love it.
We talked about kind of changing the approach when the requests were made for discounts or things like that, and a balance of volunteer to offset it. Do we not talk about that? Or
Yeah, I mean, the 4-H kids help out all of your guys' events. I mean, you guys would not be able to set up that concert without 4-H kids help.
And they just helped with the Ducks Unlimited too. You guys all came in
Yeah,
and helped on
we
Saturday.
With all the Ducks Unlimited, with cleanup, I mean, you name it, the fair board asks the 4-H kids to be there, and they're there.
Yep.
Without question, without asking for anything. This isn't the 4-H kids asking, this is us as adults, when we see the numbers, what we need, and that's what we're asking.
yes.
do we have anyone want to make a motion on any of that? I know my suggestion would be to waive it all, but that's me. I don't think I can make a motion, so.
Make a motion that we cover half the expenses for the bingo night. It is for 4-H kids and they do help us. Sure.
So we would be making their rental fees 700. Oh, Elise, okay. I don't know what difference timing that was, but it says I make a motion to waive all fees for 4-H bingo from Elise.
We already have that motion. Table a minute ago. What's the second?
No, we didn't have a. So right now, what we're sitting at is that Elise has made a motion to waive all the fees. And I don't know which motion came first, if it was that one or Joel's. Okay, so we will go to see if anyone will like to second Elise's motion that is waiving all fees for 4-H bingo.
So I want to pause for a second, but I think maybe we need to have that discussion.
Well, there's nothing to discuss until the second.
So I'll second it so we can have a discussion. Correct. Okay.
Okay, so Bruce seconds that we will waive all of the fees for the 4-H bingo. All in favor?
No,
Nope,
Now it's
discussion,
yours.
sorry.
Yeah, I think that I'm just concerned that we're setting a precedent that, in this case, just when someone comes to ask for a waive of fee, that we are waiving the fees. There wasn't really much in the way of discussion. And I acknowledge that the 4-H, definitely, from what you explained, help and volunteer a lot. I also recognize that the big portion of the fair is focused on 4-H, right? And I don't believe that there's, I'm not sure of the cost to the 4-H team as they participate in the fair. I'm just a little concerned that we're specifically responding so affirmatively, specifically to 4-H, where with other organizations that come in, maybe we don't have as quick of a response. I just want to make sure that we're looking at this unbiased.
Can I say something?
Yeah, absolutely.
So the Oregon Fair Association, their mission statement is to educate the public about ag and ag-related issues. Currently, the only ones that are doing that is our correction. It's not you guys. So that's where I'm coming from. Like, you guys, it's a group partnership. We need you, but you need us to fulfill what Oregon Fair Association mission is.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the fair forward and the fair supports 4-H. I'm just looking at it as I'm not attached to any of it. I just want to make sure we're proceeding with showing that we're not showing a bias, where we're responding very quickly to not only waiving the fees requested, but also expanding that to all the fees. Where we want to make sure that we're pushing this as unbiased, and that when others come in, we should have to fit the same criteria when a decision is made. That's where I think we have to be careful about setting a precedent.
I think at that point, I think that we haven't made that precedence right now. I think that that's where we need to maybe sit down and look at that when we do our strategic planning.
Absolutely.
But at this moment in time, I can tell you from being on the board for a little while, that we have had multiple people come in and we have done, all of that where, we make a plan and they're supposed to reciprocate. But I can tell you the one group that I have seen time and time and time again come through on what they actually say they will do is 4-H. So, yeah.
the one thing that I would note and actually have a question about is what did we do for the fisheries? Women in timber, is that a full donation or was that a partial donation?
It was a full.
Yeah, it was a full donation, and so really what as the board, when we're looking at these things, is how does it line up with our mission statement? Currently our mission statement is the Clatsop County Fair Board will provide a financially sound, well-managed facility, providing the general public and the local community with the space, buildings, and equipment needed to engage in events that promotes fun, learning, and social activities And the key word there, key phrase here is especially where children would benefit. And so when we're looking at things that we're donating, you know, we need to see how it lines up with our mission statement. And I think that we can make that affirmative response pretty easily when things line up so well with our mission statement.
Yeah.
You know, the 4-H is such a wonderful organization that's, when you're statistically speaking, it's raising the future leaders of our country. And just all of the benefits, we're not gonna spend all the time to go through all the benefits right now, but when things line up with our mission statement so easily, with the Women in Timber, you know, the raising funds for the local schools, ag programs, and all that kind of stuff, the 4-H, those are the things that I feel very comfortable with backing up and supporting. You know, when it's so in line with what
Yep.
we're doing, so.
Absolutely. Okay, so we have a first and a second. Is there any more discussion?
I was gonna say exactly what you said, that
Yep.
it just seems perfect.
Okay. Do we have, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, all opposed?
No.
Okay, so we've got Elise, was she? Oh, well, she made the motion, so she'd be yay. Okay, so motion carries. Right? I mean,
I don't think you can assume so, but if you could say what our vote is, we can.
but technically mine can count, because I didn't make
Make
the
the
last,
last
so that's
vote,
cool.
Matt, motion for something, and then voted against it.
Well, the discussion changed.
Yeah,
Right.
tremendously.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. We'll move on to finance report.
You know, this is really just because it's a standard practice to provide you guys this report, but we did just really go over it a lot.
Yeah, everything.
Finances. But if you have any additional questions, I'm happy.
All right. Besides that, we'll go through for good of the order. Matt?
I've got a few things here. I already read the mission statement. I was gonna read that, at this point, but since I just did that, I don't think that's necessary. So you know, this is my last board meeting. I'm not gonna be gone far. I'll probably still be coming to a lot of the meetings and stuff and not being way out of it, but I don't want to be committed to something that I can't be 100% committed to anymore. And so, I just want to leave you guys with a few thoughts. You know, you're dealing with a unique group of people here. Most of the time, the people that come to our fair board meetings, they're few, but they're people that care, and they're people that have a real investment into our local fairgrounds, our fair, whether it be 4-H or vendors. They're really rooted in our community. And so I just want you guys to really think about who you're dealing with. When we're making rules and how we're engaging people. And so just speaking to a new board, just really think about who you're speaking to. You know, these aren't necessarily the most proper people. Speaking in broad terms here, right? A lot of country folk out here. And so when you're speaking, make sure that just keep that in mind. Be careful with your rules and bylaws. We need rules and bylaws. 100% agree that they need to be updated. That there needs to be some changes made in that to more specifically lay out a few things. I think that you need to be really careful with the things that you are looking to add, because as we kind of found out last meeting when we were kind of forced into this Robert's Rules of Order that isn't actually how we're supposed to be operating based on our bylaws. We couldn't even really get a motion made because we had to amend a motion and then make an amendment to that. And then we had to go through this process that none of us even understood. And if you adopt Robert's Rules of Order, like, you have to go through those processes to make sure that it's done properly. And so I just caution you, you know, you're gonna be doing what you're gonna be doing, and that's fine. So I just caution you on moving forward with some of those things. And then what we just did here with a couple groups that came to our to us, asking for things, asking us to be generous, asking us to have common sense about what we're doing. Be generous. You know, we're in the community. We're here to provide a place for the community. Yes, we need incoming money to operate. But we also need the community support to sustain, right? To stay here for a long time. And so, be generous as much when it aligns with our mission statement, be generous. Apart from that, been a pleasure working with you guys, some longer than others, but look forward to see what you guys have. My real goal was to make sure that we had a good board in place before I stepped out. And that's one of the reasons why I was pushing for the 7-man board, is to have a lot of talent involved. And so I think you guys all have a good place on the board, and I just look forward to seeing where you guys take it.
The only item I have is, as we're going to be planning our committee meeting, special session, I think we need to wrap our heads around what that, not that we're gonna decide that right now, but like how we come in prepared for that and how it's gonna be organized. So just want to put that up.
With an agenda.
Prep work and input.
So Matt, I want to thank you for your service for all these years, and look forward to still seeing you here. And hopefully someday joining the board again.
Yeah.
My objection sometimes is not about being against the kids and against it, but I've been owned businesses all my life and very profitable. And so I am very fiscally responsible. And I believe that I would urge us all to just be fiscally responsible, because we do have a lot of stuff we want to do here at the fairgrounds. And we have a lot of repairs to make.
Yeah.
And I have to be, as a board member, I just feel I have to have the opportunity to see this fairgrounds grow and not stay stagnant. That's why I'm really kind of resistant to a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So, but thank you.
I agree with a lot of what you said. I'm glad that I was able to watch you as a fair board member for a few months at least, better than none. And yeah, thank you.
I agree with Joel. The short time, I appreciate your demeanor and the knowledge that you bring. And thanks for your service. Welcome.
And I will say, if you're not at the morning meetings for his entertainment, you're missing out, so it's the place to be. I had just a couple things that I don't know why I didn't bring up during my little spiel of board member reports, but going back to rodeo for at fair, I'm not sure it's going to pan out this year, with so many big rodeos happening through that week. So I have Dusty and I are working together a little bit with different numbers and stuff.
Like you said, the premise was that the Long Beach rodeo wasn't happening, but now it is happening.
Well, yeah, I mean, prize money is gonna be the biggest thing, is to get riders there. There's so much more money in Redmond and some other NPRAs happening, so. But that's still a talk, and talk to him too about the one in November, so. But other than that, you know, Matt, I just know you're still gonna be around, so. So that's all.
So we're gonna get our pumpkin pie.
All right, anything else? Anyone? All right.
At least just said you'll be missed, Matt.
He's not going anywhere, at least. I mean, he might not be on this side of the table, but he's not going anywhere. All right. 7:14, look at that. All right. All done. Thank you, guys.
So now if 4 more board members get together, as long as one of them's mad, it's not against the rule. So it can be free and mad.
That is a good point, actually.
Nope, because we dropped one, right? So our committee met, to our.